Hello everybody. In the last session, we had begun our discussion on the three-phase systems and three-phase circuits. We completed a major topic on the motors, which are the DC motors and the DC generators. We also discussed about two major categories of three-phase circuits. They are the star and the delta circuits. We take up our discussion from that point and continue to consolidate our ideas in this respect, in this particular area. So, we saw that there are two major types of three-phase circuits. One is called the star or Y. This Y means the shape of the letter Y, and because the circuit is in that shape, it is called Y and it is spelt as WYE. So, in the literature you will see that star circuits are also used, WYE Y circuits are also mentioned, they are one and the same. And then we have the delta circuit, because the shape of the circuit resembles the Greek uppercase letter delta, it is in that shape. So, all your three-phase circuits will fall into one of these categories. In the star circuit, we saw that if there is any load, one end of the load or the source get joined, connected as shown here, and this point is called the neutral point, and the other end will of course go to the source. Now, these loads we are showing right now as resistive loads, but they can also be reactive impedance loads, which are combination of resistance and reactances. Now, let us try to get the relationship between the various voltages and the currents in the star circuits and the delta circuits. And the case the delta circuit, this is the star or the Y, which we have been discussing since the last class. We also have the delta circuits composed of three loads or the resistors, but unlike in the star circuit where one end of the loads are joined together at a point called the neutral, here the loads are connected in a ring form. The one end is connected to the other end, the other load, the other end of the other load is connected to the next component, and so on, which forms a kind of a ring or a delta as shown. And these points are brought out and connected to the sources. So, this is the delta circuit. Now, these two circuits have different voltage and current relationships, which we shall discuss in this forthcoming class, in this coming class here. Let us now first consider the star circuit. The star circuit. Now, let me write the star formation. We have three loads in this fashion. Now, it is written in this fashion so that it gives an idea that the phasor diagram is 120 degrees displaced with each other. That is the idea, isn't it? In fact, that is the constraint that we applied on a general 3 sources and general 3 loads to obtain the 3 phase circuit. What were the constraints? The first constraint is that the effective values of all the 3 single voltage sources should be the same, or the peak values. And the second is that the phasors of each of the 3 independent sources should be displaced with respect to each other by 120 degrees. So, these were the 2 conditions that we applied, and this picture here actually the circuit, this is actually the circuit, but the circuit is superposed on an underlying phasor diagram to give you a clarity on the voltage relationships between the 2. So, let us call this as terminal A, this as the neutral point N, this as terminal B, this is terminal C. And to these terminals you are applying the voltages A, this is A, B has to be connected to B, B gets connected to B, and C gets connected to C. So, A, B, C, these are the 3 terminals of the 3 phase load which are brought out. Now, we saw that the neutral is not brought out because in a balanced 3 phase load, meaning where all the 3 loads are equal and same, then the instantaneous current we saw in the last class that the instantaneous current, that is the sum of I A plus I B plus I C, which flows through the neutral wire to complete the circuit, that is the 4th wire, is always equal to 0, and therefore, we can effectively remove the 4th wire, that is the neutral wire. So, now we shall say that this voltage here is E A n. Let me take the effective values E A n. The voltage in the B phase, this is E B n, and the voltage in the C phase with respect to the neutral E C n. So, E A n, E B n, E C n are with respect to the neutral, they are across the loads of every phase, and they are called the phase voltages. Okay. Remember that E A n, E B n and E C n are called the phase voltages. They are called the phase voltages. Now, the phasor diagram is also like this. This is E A n, E A n, 120 degrees lagging E B n, 240 degrees lagging E C n. You see. So, this is 120 degrees, this is another 120 degrees between C and B, and then another 120 degrees between A and C. So, as the phasor diagram is in the shape of the star, superposing the circuit on that, you get the circuit in the shape of a star, but in actuality it is the phasors which are 120 degrees displaced by with each other, but the circuits can be written in any other shape also with all one ends joined together. But however, for clarity and aesthetically pleasing look, this is a much more descriptive way of writing the circuit. Now, let us look at these voltages. Now, let me take another color. Now, this voltage between these two lines, this is called E A B, and this voltage is called E B C, and this voltage is called E C A cyclically, A to B, B to C, C to A. Okay. And here E A B, E B C, E C A, they are called the line voltages. They are called the line voltages. Now, one more parameter, let us call this as I A, and what flows through this line here as I B, and what flows through this line as I C. Okay. Then I A, I B, I C are called the line currents, and if we take, let us say, the current here as I A P and the current here I C P and the current here as I C I B P. Then I A P, I C P, I B P and I C P, they are all the phase currents. So, we have the phase voltages, phase currents, basically the voltages across each load phase, and the currents through the phases, they are called the phase currents IAP, ICP, IBP, and the line voltages, the voltages across the line, this is the line, the source. So, you have EAB, BC and ECA as the line voltages, and the currents which are flowing through the line are called the line currents IA, IB, IC. In the case of a star circuit, the phase current and the line current are the same, and therefore, IA is equal to IAP, IB is equal to IBP, IC is equal to ICP. The phase and the line currents are the same. So, now let us bring about a relationship between these various voltages and currents. So, for that let us have a copy of this circuit, so that we need not repeat draw. Let me copy it, let us go here and then paste it, the next page. So, we have the circuit here. First, let us have a picture of the phasor diagram. So, let me draw EAN. This is EAN. 120 degrees away, same amplitude, we have EBN. You see EBN, and then we have ECN 120 degrees away. This we know. This is the voltage across every phase. Now, what is EAB? EAB is the line voltage between line A and line B. Now, look at this portion of the circuit between A phase and the B phase, isn't it? So, let me draw this in blue. Look at this portion of the circuit we shall apply the Kirchhoff's voltage law for this portion of the circuit. So, for this loop, okay. So, for this loop EAB is equal to EAN minus, you see EAN is opposing EAB, minus EBN according to the directions that we have assumed. So, EAB minus EBN, EAN minus EBN is EAB, the line voltage. This is the line voltage. These two are the phase voltages, phase A, phase B. So, look at it across in the phasor diagram shown here. Now, EAN, what is minus EBN? So, the minus EBN will be along this axis, but in the minus direction, same amplitude, but minus direction. Isn't it? So, therefore, if we complete the parallelogram, we have EAB. We have EAB. So, this is minus EBN. Okay, let us have a look at the angles. So, we see that this angle is 120 degrees, and if we extend this angle would be 60. So, if this angle is 60 degrees, this angle will be half of that, which is 30 degrees. So, EAB is going to lead EAN by 30 degrees, or EAN lags EAB by 30 degrees. Clear? So, let us expand that and have a clearer view. So, we take that. So, let us draw a bigger picture of this. So, I have EAN, this is ECN, this is EBN. So, I am going to take EBN negative. So, the EBN negative will be, this is minus EBN, and the resultant of that this is EAB, and that is leading EAN, the phase voltage, by 30 degrees. So, this is the resultant, that is the line voltage with respect to the phase voltages EAN and EBN. Now, what is the value of EAB with respect to EBN and EAN? Now, we said that the amplitudes of all the phase voltages effective values are the same. So, therefore, let us say EAN amplitude is equal to EBN amplitude is equal to ECN amplitude, which we shall call it as E phase. Okay. Likewise, EAB amplitude will be equal to EBC amplitude will be equal to ECA amplitude. We will call this one as E line. So, that is the EL is the line voltage. So, let me take the projection of the phase voltages onto this. So, EAN cos of 30 is going to be the projection of EAN along the AB line. So, this much, this value here is going to be EAN cos 30, and this value from here to here is going to be the projection of minus EBN on to the EAB line. This again is also 30 degrees, because this is a isosceles triangle, and this amplitude will be E phase, let me see, E phase cos 30 degrees, and this EAN can also be now written as in terms of a common variable E phase. So, E phase cos 30 plus E phase cos 30 will be EAB. Therefore, EAB which is E line, the line voltage will be equal to 2 into E phase cos 30 degrees. What is cos 30 degrees? Cos 30 degrees is root 3 by 2. So, which will be 2 into E phase root 3 by 2. So, we have a cancellation there, and therefore, we have an important relationship. Line voltage is root 3 times phase voltage. Line voltage is root 3 times phase voltage. So, this is applicable in general to all the line voltages. Okay. We saw the diagram here for this one, but if we go back to our previous picture, you can also see that EBC. So, for EBC we are talking of this loop, we are considering this loop, the one which is shown by the cursor, that loop. So, what do you see? You see EBN minus ECN will be EBC. So, it will be EBN minus ECN, and likewise ECA. So, for ECA we are considering this loop as shown by the cursor. So, if we look at the voltages, ECA will be equal to ECN, that is this one, minus EAN, and then back to the. So, this is equal to ECN minus EAN. These are the voltages symmetrically applied. So, if you look at this particular picture, you will see that there is a symmetry about all the axes. So, now let us say we want ECA or now if we take about ECA, you have AN which will be shown in the negative. Okay. So, you have EAN minus EAN, and you have this vector which is ECA. Now, let us say EBC. So, in the case of EBC, you have C vector will be, this is ECN minus, and we have EBC. So, you see symmetrically all the phases will have similar type of a vector phasor construct, and in all cases the line voltages are nothing but projections of these two phasor voltages, and in all cases the line voltage is leading the phase voltages by 30 degrees, and therefore, the line voltage here will be twice the projections of the phase voltage, which is again root 3. So, line voltage will be root 3 times phase voltage. One important relationship that you have to keep in mind. Now, in the case of the star circuit, we are discussing the star circuit. What is the relationship between the line currents and the phase currents? So, likewise, let us give similar symbol for the line currents. IL is the line current and I phase is the phase current, and we have the line current equaling the phase current, because in the case of the star circuit we see that IA, the line current, the same current that flows through the phase circuit. IC, the phase line current, the same current that flows through the phase circuit, and so also IB. So, the line current and the phase currents are same in the case of star connected circuits. So, in the case of the star circuits, these two are the important relationship that you have to remember between the line voltages, between the line side parameters and the phase side parameters, between the line voltages and currents and the phase voltages and currents. Now, coming to the delta circuit, delta circuit. Delta circuits. So, in the delta circuit, the picture is as follows. We have the load connected in the pattern of a delta, a triangle, basically an equilateral triangle shape, as shown here, as we are constructing here. It has of course 3 R's, 3 loads, okay. And let us say we have the A terminal, the B terminal and the C terminal. And let us connect the A terminal to the A terminal. A terminal is connected to the A line of the source. The B line of the source is connected to the B line of the source. Then you have the C line of the source connected to the C terminal of the circuit here as shown. Now, here let us now define the various parameters. Now, A to B, we shall call this as E A B. Okay. Then we shall call this as E B C, and we shall call this as E C A cyclically. Okay. Cyclically, we have EAB, EBC, ECA. Okay. Now, we need to define 3 line currents. So, you have I A, this is I B and this is I C. 3 line currents. Note that the phase voltages are the same as the line voltages in this case. All phase voltages, you see across all the phase circuits, you have EAB which is directly connected across the line A and B. EBC, the phase circuit, this R is connected directly across B and C, and so also ECA. So, the phase voltage and the line voltage are the same, whereas in the case of star, the phase currents and the line currents are the same. And in the case of the delta circuit, the line currents and the phase currents are not same, as it was in the case of the star circuit. So, keep that in mind. And let us say that there is a line current A to B in this direction. Let us call that one as I A B, and then we have a current B to C, and we will call that one I B C, and then we have a current from C to A, okay, and that we shall call that as I C A. Okay. So, these are the directions of the currents that we are indicating here. Now, we need to find the relationship between this line current here I A and the phase currents here. So, also the line currents here and the phase currents here, the line currents and the phase currents, because we know that between the phase voltage and the line voltage there is no difference. So, they are all equal. So, what is remaining is to find the relationship between the line and the phase currents. So, first let us draw the phasor diagram. So, in the phasor diagram, we first draw the phasor diagram of EAB, EBC, ECA. We know that the line voltages are all having the same amplitude, same effective amplitudes, phasors, but they are all displaced 120 degrees out of phase with each other. So, let us draw the EAB component in this fashion, EA to B and EA to B as the circuit is drawn here. So, this I will let us call it as EAB, EBC, okay, EBC as shown here. Then we see that ECA. So, we draw from here the ECA, ECA, ECA. So, we have the 3 line voltages drawn here and they are all, as you know, 120 degrees phase shifted with respect to each other. That is the characteristic of 3-phase circuit, 3-phase systems. Now, all are resistive loads. So, as all are resistive loads, the currents will be in phase with the voltages, the respective phase voltages. Now, the phase voltages here in this case are the line voltages themselves, and therefore, we have the currents which are flowing through here. The IAB, BC and CA will be in line or in phase with the voltages across those terminals EAB. So, therefore, the currents, phase currents IAB will be along EAB, IBC, that is IBC here will be along EBC, same amplitude because the load is the same, and then ICA, which is flowing in this direction here, will be along CA. So, this will be ICA, this is going to be IBC. So, we have the 3 phase currents. Now, how do we relate the 3 phase currents with the line currents IA, IB, IC? So, if we take the Kirchhoff's current law, now we apply the Kirchhoff's current law, IA is equal to, so we look at this node here, IA is equal to the current which is going out here, which is IAB, minus the current which is coming through here, because they are now in 2 different directions. So, therefore, we have IAB minus ICA, because IA and ICA are coming to the node, IAB is going out of the node. That is the reason that the sign difference is coming into the picture here. Now, here if you look at IA minus ICA, so minus ICA is going to give you the current, will give you the current, the resultant current. So, let me draw this. ICA minus should be like this, isn't it? So, it goes like that. This is minus ICA, and the resultant is like that. This is IA. So, you see IA is IAB vectorial sum minus ICA. So, this would be IA, and note that IA and EAB are having a phase difference, and that phase difference is again 30 degrees. So, here too, if you say that IA, IB, IC, they are all having the same effective amplitudes, and we will say that it is the line current IL. Okay. IAB, IBC, ICA, they are all having the same effective values I phase. Okay. And looking at the diagram, and if we draw the projections, so you will see that IAB projection on this IA line and ICA amplitude projection on this IA line. So, you have an I phase cos 30 and I phase cos 30. So, 2 times I phase cos 30 is added up to get IA amplitude. So, IA is nothing but the I line amplitude. I line will be 2 times I phase into cos of 30 degrees, which is 2 times I phase into root 3 by 2, because cos 30 is root 3 by 2, and out of which these two are going to get cancelled. So, we have the relationship IL is equal to root 3 I phase. Pretty important relationship. And here E line will be equal to E phase, because they are the same. So, if we summarize these star and delta circuits, so you have the star and you have the delta circuit. We can put it like that, and this like this, let us say. The star circuit, E line equals root 3 E phase. I line is equal to I phase. And the delta circuit, E line equals E phase. Line voltage is same as the phase voltage, and I line will be root 3 times I phase. These are the two important relationship with respect to the star and delta circuits. Now, if you consider the power, there are, in a 3-phase circuit, there are 3 single phase or 3 phase circuits which are connected either in the star or the delta form. So, if we take per phase, in each phase, the, let us say we are considering right now the resistive load, and therefore, the whole power is active power. So, E phase into I phase will be the power per phase. However, there are 3 phases and therefore, the power of all the 3 phases get added up and therefore, the total power P total will be 3 into the phase powers, which is equal to 3 into E phase I phase. Normally, we express the power in terms of the line parameters. So, if we have to express it in terms of the line parameters, so let us say we first take the star circuit. We know that P total is equal to 3 times E phase into I phase. So, in the case of the star circuit, what is the relationship that we use? We use E line equals root 3 E phase, I line is equal to I phase. So, substituting these here, you have P total is equal to 3 into E phase is E L by root 3, I phase is same as I L, therefore, we put it as I L. So, which is root 3 E L I L, that is the total 3 phase power. Root 3 line to line voltage into line current. Now, in the case of the delta circuit, P total is 3 times phase voltage into phase current, and here the relationship that we are trying to use is E L line current will be the same as the phase current in the delta circuit. I L the line current will be root 3 times the phase current, this we saw. So, substituting this here, we have P total 3 times E phase is same as E line. So, we write it as E line in terms of the line parameters, and I phase, looking at this equation, we have I L by 3 by root 3, I L by root 3. So, this gives you the same relationship E L into I L, this is P total. So, whatever may be the type of connection, whether star or delta in a 3 phase circuit, if you are using the line parameters, line voltage, line currents, the total power is always given by root 3 E line I line. This will be the total power P total, a 3 phase circuit. So, in a 3 phase circuit also, you can have non-resistive loads, like it need not be pure resistances, it can also be impedances, which means combinations of resistances and reactances, which means some portion of the power is going to be reactive in nature and some portion of the power is going to be active in nature. And the concept of the power factor that we developed earlier is still valid. We discussed earlier that the power factor in the case of sinusoidal circuits power factor is given by cos of phi, phi being the phase angle between the voltages and the currents in the phase. So, if we have a resistive load, we saw that the current, the phase currents and the phase voltages, they were in phase, but if they are non-resistive, that is, you have an impedance load, then the currents are going to either lag or lead depending upon the type of the load. If it is an inductive type of impedance, then the current is going to lag the voltage, and if it is a capacitive type of impedance, the current is going to lead the voltage. So, cos of that angle, that lead lag, this is the lead or lag angle in the phase, is going to be the power factor. So, the active power in each phase, that is per phase, will be E phase RMS value, of course, I phase RMS are the effective values, into cos of phi, as we had discussed earlier in a single phase circuit, and the total power in all three phases, because all three phases are symmetric, is going to be 3 times P per phase power, which is going to be 3 times E phase into I phase into cos of phi. Just to give you an idea here. So, if we have, let us say, the phase voltages, let us say a star circuit, this is EAN, EBN, ECN. In a resistive network, the currents are going to be in phase, but in the case of, let us say, an inductive circuit, RL circuit, which is there in the three load arms, you will have a current which is lagging the each of the phases. So, this would be IA, IC, this is IB. How this comes about? You will see that if you have a circuit something like that, as shown here, this is the A, B and C, this is inductive in nature, RL circuit, R, L, R, L, R and L, same R's and L's, balanced load. So, you will see the currents lagging the voltage in every phase. So, in such case, the total power all three phases put together is given in this fashion, and still the relationship, let us say in the case of the star, we would have E line is equal to root 3 E phase, and the case delta, we would have I line which is equal to root 3 I phase, and then if we substitute here, in both the cases you will see that P total will be root 3 E line I line cos of phi. So, this will be the total active power that is drawn from the load in the case of a 3-phase circuit. So, let us take a simple example from the book. Let me consider line voltages, 865 volts effective value, and the load resistance R is 50 ohms. Load resistance R is 50 ohms. Now, the load is connected in star circuit, So, let us calculate first voltage across each resistor, first step. Second, the current in each resistor, and third, the total power which is drawn from the source. So, we have a star circuit which is of this form, and let us say this is A, B, C. So, we make the connection like that, and have the A, B, C. This is 50 ohms, 50 ohms, 50 ohms, and we have the line voltages 865 volts. Okay. So, now what is the phase voltage? The phase voltage will be line voltage by root 3, which is 865 by root 3, and that is equal to around 500 volts. So, that is the voltage across every resistor. So, every resistor we are saying that there is a voltage across it of 500 volts, the phase voltage, and we know that the line current is equal to 10 amps, and through each of the resistor it is going to be the same, because in a star circuit the phase current is also 10 amps. So, 10 amps into 50 ohms, which is 500 volts. And the third thing is the total power, P total, which is equal to root 3 EL IL as resistive load. So, cos phi is equal to 1. So, this will be equal to root 3 865 into 10 amps, which is equal to 15 kilowatts, okay, or 3 into E phase I phase is also 15 kilowatt or 15,000 watts. We shall stop here at this point of time and then continue in the next class.